Hey everyone, this is Devin from Project No Limits, and today I have another video for you. Today's topic is about one of the most overlooked concepts that we oftentimes ignore in our lives, but it controls everything we do. It's the core belief system of everything that we are, and it defines to a large extent what we're going to become and what we've been in the past. So, what I'm talking about is our story. Everybody individually has a story. The story is something that you tell yourself about the essential essence of who you are. It defines your past, it defines your future, it defines your present, and most people are not even aware of the story they tell. So today we're going to talk about what that story is, how you identify that story, and then finally how you change it. So what a story is it's a core belief system about how you believe about yourself. You may accept inherently some kind of limitation that you have, or you may accept that you are naturally a sort of person, or that you are inclined towards certain types of people, or that certain things happen to you no matter what. These kind of things have a basis in everybody's reality. And if you listen to people talk, you'll often find them telling you this aspect or maybe a little component of their story. And you too also tell other people these stories as well. A story is limitations that you think you have. It's also abilities that you think you have. It's what you think that you're capable of based on your past experiences, based on what your parents thought of you, based on your upbringing, based on what your teachers told you in school, based upon past relationships and what they told you about yourself, past experiences and what happened to you. Your story is the overarching meaning of your life that comes to define what you can do in the future. The story is very, very important to identify because this is like the core belief system of who we are. And if we become aware of our story, we can start to realize how we identify ourselves, and we can realize that a lot of these weaknesses and many of these limitations that we put on ourselves are because of these past experiences, but are not in fact indicative of our future. They're not in fact responsible for our future, and we can change them and become someone else. But the first step is to actually see how stories are formed and what we tell ourselves about ourselves in our self-talk. One of my favorite ways to actually learn about stories is to watch other people. A lot of times when you get in a conversation with another person, especially a new person, but look at a coworker, look at someone in a relationship, look at even your parents or anybody, they're going to start to tell you about small limitations or small elements of their own personal back history that they identify as true for themselves. And you'll just start to listen to them. So look for keywords. I like to look for things like, I really want to get to going to the gym and I want to start doing that really consistently, but I've always been kind of a weak person. I don't think I could ever learn to lift weights, right? There's a really critical story. How did that person get that belief system? Maybe they had an experience early in life in high school or something where they were in a weight room and they were lifting weights and somebody made fun of them. And so they've always identified after that, a part of their story became, well, I can't lift weights, I can never do that. So the more that you listen to people and how they actually define themselves in relation to their story, the more you can become very clear about how you say those things to other people and how you can start to change them. Another really classic one is in terms of finances or jobs. You'll see someone say something like, well, I've always been a manager and I couldn't really imagine myself owning a company. I just couldn't see myself doing that. I'm not really the sort of person that likes to own companies. Well, why not? Why are you not that sort of person? Why are you not the sort of person that loves owning companies? Or why are you not the sort of person that loves this type of job? Those are sort of things that you can introspectively analyze. You can say, maybe that's not quite right. Or it could also be as simple as food choices. I hate eating carrots. I've always hated eating carrots and I have no idea why. Well, maybe you had some kind of experience when you were a kid that identified you with that. I remember when I was a child, I had a very, very negative experience with meat, and it caused me to become a vegetarian for many years. And later on, not till I was much older, I analyzed that and I said, wow, do I really not like meat? Or is it just because of this experience in my past that I can change? And once I change that, I've become a regular meat eater to this day. So a lot of these stories, they're ingrained in us, and we need to see them through other people's perspective. We need to see what other people define as their limitations to start analyzing our own. What parts of you do you think you can't change? What parts of you do you think are things that are just written in stone? What parts of you do you blame on genetics? What parts of you do you blame on just the way your brain works? What parts of you do you blame on your parents, or the way that you were raised, or the teacher you had in school, or any number of things? What are those things, and are those things really set in stone? Are those things you really can't change? Or are those things something that you can actually make a difference on if you're simply aware of how to do it? Asking these really critical questions. Why do I have this belief system? Why do I think this way? These are how you start to change your story. And your story is, at the start, it might be, I'm a very overweight person. I can't find a good job. I can't find a good relationship. My family life is tough. Over time, your story could change into, I feel great. I'm very fit. I have a wonderful job that I love. I'm surrounded in relationships that give me great amounts of gratitude and award me every day and reward me every day. You could change your story with just these tips and self-awareness. So the first step is to ask very critical questions. Why are my beliefs this way? Is this a belief that is really founded in reality, or is this a belief that I just have because I've formulated this over time at some point? Also, once you are aware of those things, you can ask yourself a different question, which we've talked about in previous videos. How do I change the story? So I know now that I have always believed, for example, that I could never get fit. I've always been overweight. My parents have been overweight, for example. This is just an arbitrary example. And I don't believe that I can go to the gym or work out. Well, is that a belief system that's true? Probably not. You probably don't have some underlying medical condition that would cause you to not be able to ever work out. Even if you do, you could probably do your own variation of it and you'd make progress and results. So you can change your story because you know that the underlying truth is a lie. It's not true. You can do that thing. And then you can ask yourself a better question. So how do I change this story? How do I become a person who appreciates fitness and appreciates working out? In this example, how do I become a healthier person? Well, now you've started to shape your question in a different way. And now you've started to shape your story in a different way. How can I change this? Why do I believe this way? Once you start to get down into your beliefs and you start to think about why you have these beliefs, it's something that you'll change very rapidly. And you'll start to realize that your story will sort of start to change on its own. So the best way to become aware of your story is watching yourself and others in their own stories. And again, this is another one of those concepts in self-improvement, like so many things that we go over in these videos, that is not something that will happen tomorrow. Your story is the grand belief system of your life. This will take many months or years to improve. But the objective of this video is just to get you to start to think about this. And in your day-to-day life, you can say, oh, that one, like that belief. Or you can pick these out of the air and say, that one was kind of weird. Like, why do I feel that way about that thing? If something makes you really angry all of a sudden, or something gives you an emotional response, and suddenly it's like, why did I feel that way? Why did that happen? Right? Those are the type of things that you can start to analyze and say, okay, maybe I could change that. Maybe my belief system would be better off this way. Once you take control of that, and you start to realize you have this control over yourself, it's going to empower you in a really different and really exciting way. So just to recap a little bit, your story is your core belief system that surrounds everything you do. You can become aware of it by looking at other people and seeing how they tell their stories and how you tell your story yourself. And then finally you can change it by asking the right questions around why you have those beliefs, and then restructuring those questions so that you can say, what's a better question? How could I do this better? Why do I believe this way? And what would change it so that I could live better and be happier? So I really sincerely hope that this video has helped you, and just ask yourself today, what is your story and how could you change it to be more fulfilled, more grateful, and more rewarded for living? So thank you very much for watching this video. I will see you again soon, and take care. Very best wishes from Devin at Project No Limits. Thank you to your passion and your good living.